The information has reported that China's internet regulator has ordered specific technology companies, Alibaba, Tencent among them, to stop placing orders of Nvidia's H20. The H20 is the China-specific chip that had performance engineered out of it that was subject to export control. What we knew, by the way, as of Monday morning, was that Nvidia had not in any recent months shipped any H20s to China anyway. But the problem with this latest report, which has been in the last hour or so, is that it's a much more extreme move by China than what Bloomberg had reported overnight, which was basically an advisory. Chinese authorities had strongly recommended to various Chinese technology companies not to use the H20 in particular, as well as one chip from AMD. But the market's reacting. That's all that matters, right?
Right. So we are seeing shares of Nvidia down a touch, about 0.8% here. Can you just speak a bit more about what are the implications here for Nvidia in particular?
Yeah. So the state of play is really important to understand. Nvidia's H20 chip is not the best chip that a Chinese technology company can buy. Huawei, which is essentially China's domestic champion, has actually several generations of chip that have better performance and power, not just more than the H20, but of Nvidia's H200 chip, which until very recently was the sort of cutting-edge generation accelerator that many American companies used. They've since moved on to a later generation called Blackwell that's not available in China. The president, as you know, confirmed yesterday, about 24 hours ago, that he had cut a deal, an ad hoc arrangement, a quid pro quo with both Nvidia and AMD, where he would allow them to export these China-specific chips with lower power and performance in exchange for 15% of the revenues gained from that market for Chinese AI accelerators. The problem is, what are we interpreting this as? Is China responding in this way because it's a tactic in the broader negotiations between the United States and China of trade overall? That is what the analyst community thinks. Or is China protecting its own domestic industry for AI accelerators, making sure that Chinese tech companies buy a Chinese AI chip? Both are possible. The main conclusion across both is that now Wall Street has to reassess how likely it is that Nvidia and AMD do business in that market, at least in the near term.
And Ed, I guess if I were an analyst or an investor, I'd be saying, I think I have to factor into my model that the answer would be no, that I can't imagine some of the advanced chips being allowed into China. It just doesn't feel like the political winds are blowing that way at this point.
You know, there are certain sections of Wall Street, the most bullish analysts, that Nvidia's next quarter coming up is the fiscal second quarter. Some people saw them doing $7 billion of sales in China on the basis that, okay, president said it's cool. Even if you have to pay a 15% so-called export tax, and there are questions about how constitutional that rule would be, which we can get into, sure, it's still better to have 85% access to a market than zero. So everyone was like, they can do this quickly, just turn the tap back on. I would wager, I think I said this yesterday anyway, but 24 hours on, given the news flow, they're probably reassessing their model down and down and down, closer towards zero.